Hello everyone, and welcome back to Hunting with Purpose. What on earth is Hunting with Purpose, you may ask? It has been a little while since I last did Hunting with Purpose recording, so I would imagine that some of you wouldn't be familiar with the series or what it's all about. What it is all about is fairly self-explanatory. It is in the title. What we do in Hunting with Purpose is hunt with an objective in mind, as opposed to just doing random hunts and allowing whatever happens to come on the board to be the next quest that we do. We will obviously have a hand in what quests we're going to be doing because we will, have certain materials that we want to gather or acquire, which will in turn be used to make weapons and armor. That is fairly obvious. Those are the sort of objective-based activities that one would engage with while playing Monster Hunter. That's what we're going to be doing today. There's a little bit of a story attached to why I'm doing this. It has been a little while since I last did Hunting with Purpose for my benefit, which is to say that I rather frequently recorded Hunting with Purpose under one of two circumstances. Either I was doing a live hunts recording, and I ended up in, the only good room that I could get into was a guy who wanted to farm something. Under those circumstances, I would change the VOD information to actually show Hunting with Purpose, so that those watching the video would understand that what is contained within is hunting something specifically for someone's benefit. They need to hunt this monster X number of times to be able to acquire the material or item or armor piece, whatever, that they are looking to acquire. And I think I said acquire twice. I could have been slightly more articulate, but I'd forgotten how I started the sentence, so you'll have to forgive me. But yeah. The second scenario would essentially be me hunting with someone that I am either acquainted with or friends with, and I'm doing their quests while hunting, and obviously recording. So that would be another situation where I would be recording Hunting with Purpose. As far as the third and, I suppose, hitherto unmentioned reason why I would be doing Hunting with Purpose, or at least as far as, saying one of two scenarios, well, there is a third, and that is, in fact, hunting for my own objectives and character progression. Now, I of course do a whole lot of that in my own time, but I haven't done that on camera very much recently. And I suppose the last opportunity that I had to do that was when Rise came out. But then I realized what that game was, and I promptly removed every shred of evidence of that game ever having existed on my channel. So the only recording of Rise that exists on my channel, and it's not even of the game really, it's me discussing, I think I showed the live stream. Actually no, I didn't show the live stream of the reveal. I think 2 hours after that, I sat down with a bottle of whiskey and just, talked about how I felt. It must have been at 2 in the morning or something, and my hair was still a little bit wet from the shower, and I looked like shit. I was, quite far into a bottle of whiskey, and, I was just letting whatever came out, come out, and that was 40 minutes or something of that. That's the only recording that remains of Rise, or anything Rise related. Well, let's say Rise focused, but, yeah. That's for the better. But that is not the purport of my introduction. The reason why or rather, what I seek to do in this introduction is explain to you what Hunting with Purpose is. That is, essentially, slowing the pace down, allowing myself to actually work out what I want to do every step of the way, and essentially just playing the game as normal while recording it, which is probably what most people do as content creators, as we've taken to calling them recently. When playing Monster Hunter, they just, find an objective and work towards that and build their character while recording. me, I have certainly taken to building my character first and then recording for your entertainment. I just enjoy that. I think it's nice to be able to equip whatever the hell I want while hunting random monsters. I think that's a good way to deliver Monster Hunter content to you guys. I think it's not necessarily the most entertaining, and I suppose there would be a taste element associated with it. Not everyone would prefer that to what would perhaps be the more standard methodology of recording Monster Hunter, which is what you'll be seeing today. That's right, it wasn't just explaining what this video series was. There was something else that I wanted to talk about, and that was why I'm recording this today. Why have I suddenly decided to work on my character? Well, there was a little bit of a logjam that I had to break through, and that was on a particular armor set that I simply couldn't complete. And I'm going to try and illustrate to you the process that I have to undertake to actually complete this armor set. I am going to equip the armor set now. It's sort of like going to the end of the story, but at the beginning. This is the set. Those among you who are rather eagle-eyed, and indeed perceptive enough to have noticed it, would have seen that every time I went over this set, there was like one armor skill on it. It was Guard +2, I believe. Didn't have any other armor skills on it, so it begged the question as to why I actually had it registered. Well, it was an incomplete armor set that needed one piece to complete it, and that piece was the Arshan Greaves X, which is now equipped to it. The Arshan Greaves X require not one, not two, but in fact 3 long fragments. Long fragments can only be acquired by playing offline. I have not actually seen for myself, it may very well be possible, but I have not seen for myself the, what do you call them? I guess the fishing fleet ships turn to rare. I don't really know how else I can refer to that. Basically, let me explain this another way. When I'm playing offline here, occasionally these vessels here, well, I suppose I'll take this, yes. Occasionally these vessels here will get 4 stars boat level. Now, they do need to be at 3 stars. You need to fully upgrade the boats, which does take them to 3 stars, for them to occasionally reach 4-star level. It's only one time that they'll do that. And you essentially need to complete quests. Like, every time you complete the quest, it will, as far as I'm aware, cycle the chance. It'll cycle the boats. There'll be an opportunity for a boat to reach level 4. When the boat reaches level 4, you're able to send it to a place called the Pirate's Cove, or something like that. You'd think I'd know it by now, but when you send it to that location, it's essentially a treasure location. The boats can either fish for actual fish from the ocean, or they can seek treasure. And at level 4, they can go to a rare treasure location. And when they go to that rare treasure location, there is a low chance of acquiring fragments. In the case of where I was sending the boat, I believe it's called the Pirate's Cove, or something along those lines. Something similar enough to that you wouldn't be confused if you were, for some reason, using this as a walkthrough. I wouldn't recommend it. In sending the boat to that location, it will actually give a very small chance for long fragments, which were precisely the fragments that I needed for these leggings. Now, what I was trying to explain before was that I haven't been able to see these boats turn to 4 stars in the online sessions that I have played in. So you can actually access these boats from Nekor in the online guild hall, or gathering hub, whatever you want to call it. But I've never seen a boat turn to level 4, so I am fairly convinced that you can only get to level 4 while playing offline. Now, when you do finally send a boat out, it can take 6 days, in other words 6 quests, just to get it to complete. So that's 6 quests. I mean, keeping in mind you have to do a number of quests until you get the chance to have a level 4 boat appear. And then it's 6 quests just to get it to come back, because there are ways of shortening the time that it takes for the boat to return, but you don't want to do that because you instead want to use what's called a treasure tracker. Instead of, a power paddle, for example. A power paddle is what will reduce the amount of time that it takes for the boat to perform its task. You want to use a treasure tracker because that is going to increase your drop rate for long fragments, in my case. And that means you're going to have to wait the full 6 days, may even be 7 days. It's bloody awful. And, yeah. Hey Beta, good to see you. It's been a while. We're taking a bit of a more relaxed tone today. We're not going straight into the hunts, although there will be hunts, don't worry about it. I just need to explain a few things first. Basically, I finally, after having, spent, not literally, a year to 2 years on it. It's not like I'd sat down and played this game for a full year or 2 years worth of gameplay. But that is how long, in terms of the moment I started trying to do this to today when I actually succeeded in getting these long fragments. That's how long it took. And it sucks, it's terrible. I'm sure that if you were really committed to it, you could get it done within a few days, but it's unpleasant to say the least. Of all the tasks I've had to perform in Monster Hunter, this was one of the most unpleasant. And on top of that, you can't even slick axe fragments. Fragments can't be slick axed, so if you happen to have slick axes and you'd like to duplicate something like that, unfortunately, no. You are not able to duplicate any of those fragments. So I had to get 3 of those rare items here. I've actually got one of these boats still out at sea. I don't know how long it's going to take for that one to return. It'll be interesting to see if I do get a long fragment from that one, but yeah. I'm not really holding my breath, and quite frankly it doesn't matter if it gets one or not, because I don't need any more. But yeah, now that I have this armor set, I can finally make use of Awakened Lances and Gun Lances. This is an armor set that is suitable to both of those weapon types for fairly obvious reasons. It has guard skills, and, Sharpness +1 is particularly useful for Gun Lances, but is also perfectly viable and encouraged for use with the Lance. Awaken, needless to say, is what makes this particular armor set so useful. It will allow me to essentially access a whole subset of weapons to act as an alternative to what I would use in a standard scenario. So, ordinarily, if I wanted to fight a monster with a fire lance, I would pick either the Silver Rathalos Lance or the Morales Lance. But now that I have this armor set, I'll be able to use, I think it's called the Lost Babel, or, something along those lines. And that will be an Awaken alternative. So what it does is it expands your options, and this is the big thing about the end game. Some people don't get to experience this because they don't put enough time into a Monster Hunter game to really appreciate what needs to be done to maintain enjoyment with a game when you've played it for so long. What is needed is variety, and making Awaken armor sets and Awaken weapons in the games that actually have that as an option is one of the big ways in the end game that you can not only give yourself more to do, of course you need to take quite some time to make all elements for all weapon types in the first place, but then imagine having to do that again for Awaken weapons. It just gives you more to do, and then on top of that, you see an immediate result. You have more options now when you're going up against monsters. And what's even better is that you're not actually handicapping yourself by using Awaken. In certain respects, you're actually dealing more damage with Awaken. I suppose the chief example that comes to mind would have to be Stygian's and Ogre weapons in this game. Stygian's and Ogre actually started off in the series, keeping in mind that he first appeared in this game, as almost an Awaken-only monster when it comes to weapons. The only exception that I can think of would be the bow. The bow doesn't have an Awaken requirement. I don't even know if Awaken bow... No, of course Awaken bows exist in this game. Kelby Deershot, hello! The most heavily used bow in the game is an awakened bow. So yes, awakened bows do exist in the game, but for some reason they decided that Stygian Zinogre didn't need awaken in the bow weapon type to be able to access its dragon element. But basically, if you're going to use a dragon weapon in this game, Stygian Zinogre is a really good fucking choice. Just the amount of raw damage you're getting on top of sharpness and also elemental damage if you've got awaken, it really does put it out ahead of other weapons, at least as far as I'm concerned. So in some respects, not only Stygian, I do have to add, awaken actually ends up being better, so that's a good thing. You cannot slick axe fragments, no, and it is rough. It wasn't fun to get the long fragments, but I got them, so we've managed to get over that hurdle. Now I just need to start making weapons. This is my awakened dragon lance. I don't know if I'm going to focus on getting all awakened lances that I want and then work on gun lances. I could go back and forth. Essentially what I'm going to be doing in this video is making all of those weapons. Not literally all of them, but I'm going to seek to do that. That is the overall objective. But as far as what I'll do in this video, it sort of depends on how quickly I can make the weapons. It also depends on how much time I'd like to allocate to making weapons in this recording, and yeah, maybe if there are people to hunt with, that would be nice too. But in the meantime, I'll just focus on making weapons. Yeah, I'm not going to worry so much about what people are doing online. It'll be an opportunity for me to show you guys, without actually intending to play online, how many people you can expect to be on at this time of day anyway, which is sort of... Well, what time of day would this be, roughly? I guess early morning for America, and for Europe, I suppose it would be approaching midday. But anyway. What we have here is a weapon that I made fairly early on. I think I made this in anticipation of making this armor set quite some time ago. I did not use it as a raw weapon. This weapon, actually, back in Monster Hunter Tri, had innate dragon. And it was a really good weapon in Monster Hunter Tri, but they actually neutered a lot of the Devil Joe weapons. I don't know why, I didn't really find it to be all that necessary, especially considering they have things as imbalanced as slime. I mean, this is the ultimate irony of Capcom. They try to balance certain things to make them less powerful, and then they just come out with something like slime, or mounting damage, or something just totally... something that skews the balance of the entire game to such an extent that you may as well not even bother trying to balance certain weapons. Just fucking throw it out the window. And in fact, Capcom got the memo. They realized, well, shit, we can't balance a game, so let's just throw the balancing out entirely. But that's another story. So, what I'm working on at the moment is actually the Diablos Lance. I think there are two things that I'm working on. I've got the Diablos Lance. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, this fucking shit. This weapon here, I remember I made this. I wanted to go dual blades. I think this... it's actually a long story that I don't really want to get into because it's not especially interesting. If you can sense a long story coming on and then you realize it's not very interesting, better to stop before you start. That's what I'd recommend. These things are just fucking crap. I made them as a joke, of course, but this is really bad. These dual blades are not even usable. I actually am not entirely sure they reach G rank. I'm gonna say that much. Anyway. What have we got going on with our lances? So we're making, at this stage, ignore this, I'm not really intending on forging this. I must have started making this in high rank. And the reason why I started making this in high rank was because my point of reference for this game was not Monster Hunter Tri so much as it was Portable Third, because it did include, well, I guess my reference for Thunder Weapons was not so much Tri as much as it was Portable Third when I was starting this game. And in Portable Third, Zinogre weapons were just across the board the best Thunder option. There was nothing else in the game that was worth making if you intended to go with Thunder outside of Zinogre. So, without too much hesitation, I thought that I would make a Zinogre weapon in this game, and you can see that after having reached G rank, I just left this weapon in the dust, and the reason why is because I didn't realize that there was an Abyssal Lagia Cruz, who is, in my opinion, the best Thunder monster for weapons in the series. I'm not just looking at it from a perspective of how much damage the weapons do. I'm looking at it from a perspective of sort of that. I guess it's a combination of the appearance of the weapons and also how they function. The appearance of the Abyssal Lagia weapons are amazing. They just look so damn good. And yeah, I couldn't really say the same for Zinogre weapons. I think they look pretty ugly, for the most part. I guess they looked fine when Portable Third came out, but I got so sick of looking at them. And quite frankly, they're not all that attractive, comparatively speaking, so I've actually developed a bit of a, well, lack of appreciation. I would honestly just prefer not to look at them anymore. Alrighty, so we've got the Diablos Lance here. I actually intended on making this initially as a raw weapon. I was perfectly content to use this as a raw weapon. The Black Diablos Lance is one of those mainstays in the series. I don't think there's a single game in the series where using the Black Diablos Lance would be a bad idea. Going back to first generation, that was your heavy damage dealer. It remained strong in 2nd gen. It remains strong here. But to say that it's strong would actually be an understatement in 3 Ultimate, because in this game specifically, not only is it a very strong raw lance, it does possess an additional ability, and I think you would understand, based on what I've said up until this point, that that relates to Awaken. Well, the Awaken status that this lance possesses is slime. So what they've actually sought to do, what Capcom have deemed appropriate, is to combine the most damaging raw lance in the series, what is consistently described as such, with the most broken status in the series. Both before this game and after this game, no status has been as damaging as slime as it was here in this game. So this weapon, if used in conjunction with Awaken, really is fucking strong. So yeah, I mean, while I did intend to make it as a raw weapon initially, I must have learnt that it had Slime Awaken at one point, then promptly forgotten about that, and then I relearnt it. It must have been a few months ago, and ever since then I have really been adamant about getting this bloody weapon. But of course there was the issue of me not actually having the armor set complete. But that's a thing of the past. I do now have the armor set. Hello, Mina. No armor run when? Never. I do things that I enjoy, and I don't think I'd enjoy that very much, so... Yeah, I don't play Monster Hunter because I've got something to prove. I play it because I want to have fun, so... There you go. For some people, those two concepts are one and the same, but I don't really operate in that way. So I think we'll work on the Diablo Spears to start with. If I could honestly get this thing fully upgraded, and I really don't know if I can. I'm not sure what the G-rank upgrades are going to require. And I actually don't know what I have in the way of rare Diablo's horns in this game. I start to forget the number of games that I play. What I have in each game starts to get really foggy in terms of my memories. I'm not entirely sure. So let's have a look and see what we've got. I have a sneaking suspicion that I don't have the rare horns for Diablos in this game, and I'll tell you why. It's because I try not to hunt Diablos all that often. So I might not have it. Oh, never mind, I've got 3 of them. Diablo's Hearthorn. The fact that it's rarity 9 would suggest to me that that is the rare horn. So I've got 3 of them. Worst case scenario is that this lance will require 2. And I'm pleased to say that I have what I need. So we should be okay. And I know that there is no Diablo's gun lance. That would be kind of weird. So yeah, I shouldn't need anything else when it comes to G-rank stuff. So it really is a case of me Most likely just getting some, get it? Tail cases? It's a tail case of me needing to, yeah. Thanks, Doomlink, you are really funny. But, I'm actually returning here because I want to equip something different. What would be easy to cut tails? I suppose it would have to be Switch Axe. Do I have a part breaker? Does part breaker exist in this game, or was that a 4th gen thing? I think that was a Monster Hunter 4 thing. No, it was in... how about that? Part breaker was introduced in Portable 3rd, and I'd forgotten about it. You see, this is what I mean when I say that when you play so many different Monster Hunter games, everything starts to bleed into one mess of confusion. And you have to sort of remind yourself of what's what. Oh yeah, for sure. Monster Hunter for me is all about the multiplayer. I completely agree, Beta. I didn't start off playing Monster Hunter for multiplayer, but after my experience in Monster Hunter Tri, I couldn't go back. I don't have time to play by myself now. That's technically what I'm doing now. I don't mind doing it when I'm sharing the experience with you guys, but to literally just play by myself solo and just, I don't know, slave away trying to get better at the game like some people seem to do, I just don't have the time, thank you. It's not the way I enjoy the game, but everyone has their right to enjoy it as they see fit, provided it does not negatively impact the experience of others around. Which, needless to say, it would not do if they are playing by themselves. So, I think Switch Axe would be appropriate for this. I do have Part Breaker options, I just need to find something that has Part Breaker, so this would be really the best thing to use. I'll use this with Switch Axe, and I will be trapping, because Doomlink does not like having to aim for tails, okay? So, I suppose I'll use the Giga or Giga Gale Frost, I guess, yeah. That is what we will use. And I suppose if it is a tail case, high rank should be fine. The Horned Wyvern, that should suit me just as well. Now there is, of course, the temptation to just cut the tail and intentionally die. But I think that would be a little unnecessary, especially if I'm going into a high rank offline hunt with a full G rank loadout. That's probably the well, it's definitely the coward's way out, so I'm not going to do that. I suppose this loot drop stuff is just going to have to stay in my inventory. I can live with that. You can see that well, you can't see it right now, but you were able to see it if you were paying attention, that I have completed almost all quests in the offline. There is one quest that I'm missing in the last star level, and there is also one urgent quest that I'm missing. But I'm not much of a completionist when it comes to the online stuff of Monster Hunter. In fact, even for the online stuff, I don't really commit to completing things. It generally just sort of happens over a very long period of time that I spend playing the game. So, there you go. How are you going? You know what? Actually, no. That wouldn't help at all in cutting the tail, bringing sonic bombs. See this tail chasing? I hate it. I'm not a fan of it. Some people might not have a problem with it. But you know what? It's not in my nature to really aggressively chase after one part of the monster. It's not all that fun. That's why I'm not much of a hammer guy. I can use hammer in short bursts. I'm just not really a fan of that style of gameplay. I like to take opportunities when they come, and then do other things. I suppose I'm not forced to be extremely aggressive when using hammer and just aiming exclusively for the head, but I sort of feel obligated to do that when I'm using hammer, so yeah. I don't know, as far as I'm aware that's what everyone does, but there are probably many different ways to play the game, so I shouldn't go out there and assume that, well, I didn't need a trap in the end after all. Courtesy of Part Breaker and also courtesy of my own. Of course, now I am actually going to abandon. Sorry guys. Again, this is hunting with purpose, not let's kill monsters. I carved the tail and didn't get a tail case, so no, I'm not going to continue hunting. Why would I do that? This is an objective-based recording. If you don't like it, you know what to do. But, yeah. I probably won't eat this time. I'll just go straight back out. So yeah, there's one quest here that I haven't done, Mark of a Hero. That doesn't look very fun, so I'm not going to do it. Well, at least not for a while. And then there's something that I'm missing here. I don't know how to unlock it. It may or may not be related to completing the requests from the Chief's son. And I still have a number of those to complete. Or it could be unrelated to that. I haven't looked into it, because I, ultimately, don't care. And when I say ultimately, I'm referring specifically to games that have ultimate at the end of their names. For all other Monster Hunter games, I'm perfectly content to do that. You know, Doomlink, if you're going to attempt to be unfunny, at least commit to that. Come on. I made a mistake wearing this jacket, by the way. It's not cold enough for it. I thought it was, but it's not. And I'm overheating just a little bit. So I will... I mean, I probably... Yeah, I'm not going red in the face or anything, but... I sort of feel like that, so I will actually be taking it off soon. But not on camera, because if I were to do that, I think I'm so close to my green screen that I'd end up fucking knocking it. And, yeah, so I'm going to take a moment to strip off camera once I've completed this quest. And cue the whistling and all that. Just thought I'd take that opportunity to actually get in close and hit the damn tail. Now, one thing that really bloody annoys me about Kayambo, especially when he's got that mask on, is every time I'm anywhere near him, he just thrusts this hieroglyphic laser tablet in my face, and I'm sick of looking at it. Speaking of getting sick of things, you know, when I carve a tail, I want a tail, or something that is specific to the tail that I'm carving. I don't want a carapace. You think I want a carapace? Well, no. The game knows precisely what I want. That's why it's not giving me what I want. That is how Monster Hunter works. Stupid game. It seems as if I'm passing time by abandoning the quests. I don't know how that works, but maybe that's always been a thing. You know what, I will go and take off my jacket. This is getting ridiculous. I'll be back in just a moment. Part of the reason why I wanted to wear that jacket was so that I could hide this ancient shirt that I'm wearing. I mean, I'm not going to put it on display. It's an old Dio shirt. I've had it for like 10 years, and it's old, man. And someone's going to say, oh, that's not that old. Well, it is when you've worn it as much as I have, you know. I'll have to retire it soon. I have a section of my closet which is for retired band shirts. Some of them are worth retiring because, you know, they're from tours, like they're tour shirts, but others I just do it for sentimental reasons, I suppose. You know, because I wore them for so long, and because I don't know about you guys, but if I see an old picture of myself from, I don't know, 15 years ago, I'm looking at a shirt that I hadn't seen in so long. I'm like, oh fuck, I remember that shirt. Like, I don't know if you've experienced that. I like that sort of thing. I like seeing clothes that I remember but that I haven't seen since, or it feels like I haven't seen them since that photo was taken, and it's a nice feeling. So I enjoy holding on to those shirts. But anyway, no, I'm not a hoarder, I swear. I'm definitely not a hoarder. I'm glad I'm not. But I'm definitely I'm not too far away from being that. You know, I basically have the inner workings of a hoarder's mind, but without the mental disorder part of it. If you understand. I can value the hoarder frame of mind, but I'm too sensible to actually do that sort of thing. Anyway. I'm a collector at heart, okay? But my grandfather is a lot worse than that. He's almost a hoarder. He's almost a hoarder. It's just he's got such good taste that the things that he hoards are actually good. And not complete garbage. Although some of it is a bit... Anyway. I'm not doing as well with hitting this tail this time. I think I'm going to have to put you in a trap, Mr. Diablos, because I can scarcely contain my frustrations at this stage. Oh, stop it. But it just goes to show how different some hunts can go. Some hunts you're just straight in there cutting that tail, and then other hunts is just not happening. And this would be one of the hunts where it's not happening. Until now. Oh, come on. It was that damn close. I suppose I wasn't paying attention. I felt like I hadn't made contact with the tail that much. Well, thank you. Don't know why it took 3 attempts to get a tail case, but at least I got it. Now I can actually commit to killing this stupid thing. And you can enjoy some hunting. Oh, you didn't go for the second one. It'd be nice if I could be on target. I'd be very interested in that sort of thing. Oh, I did press the... I don't know if you heard the sound of the button press, but it took place at the exact same time the monster attacked me, okay? So... I didn't just stand there and take it. I wasn't playing the game not realizing what was coming. It was well understood what Diablos was attempting to do. Are you attacking me or have you left? You have left. Okay, well I didn't quite see where you went, so I'm going to use Psycho Serums. I always keep Psycho Serums on hand. And, you know, I didn't really use them in Try. They existed in Try, but I didn't use them. I seem to recall that the guy in Locklack, in that little hallway that you pass through to get to the tavern area, I think he sold them. For resource points or whatever. Maybe not even for resource points, it's been so long. But I remember he sold them, but I didn't really use them in that game. Don't know why. Hello, Jezza. Oh, that's really good to hear, Jezza. I'm always happy to find people who are able to catch me live, who actually watch me on YouTube in a VOD capacity. It's definitely a case where the Australian time zone does not align with the UK time zone well at all. In fact, European time zones are just bad. It's because you are on the opposite side of the world to me, so we do really live in opposite time zones for that reason. The overlap generally takes place either when one of the two people is staying up later than they should, or if one of the two people happens to be very free at a time of the day when most people are not very free. I am recording at this stage at 11 in the evening, my time, which works for you if you're up early in the morning and you happen to not be up early in the morning for some reason. Actually, no, I think it's probably more later on in the day for you. It's probably closer to midday for you, isn't it? I don't know. I know it's earlier in the morning for people in the US, just not. I think European time zones are more like, 11 in the morning sort of thing. No, that's not right. It's 11 in the evening where I am now, so maybe it's more like 1 in the afternoon or something, yeah. That sounds a little more probable. But either way. I don't know how I've been going in this hunt. I've been, at least for the last, I don't know, 2 minutes, I've been hunting entirely subconsciously. As I've said before, subconscious Doomlink is usually pretty good at hunting. He generally knows what's happening. Sometimes he's better than conscious Doomlink even. It depends on conscious Doomlink's frame of mind. Or stress levels, or both. Well, I suppose, you know, stress levels do relate to a frame of mind. 2 PM? Well, good guess. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty reasonable, actually. Maybe I was being dramatic about the time zones aligning really poorly. You know, they align really poorly if I want to record in the mornings, and it has to be said that I have spent a lot of my streaming career streaming in the mornings, so I rarely have the pleasure of enjoying a British audience, you know what I mean? I speak with a real fucking Cockney accent. I'm not very good with British accents, unfortunately. UK accents. There are so many of them. I find that, I suppose if I really wanted to try, I'd probably be best at doing the Birmingham accent, because I do find that a strong Australian accent and a strong Birmingham accent actually have a lot of similarities. Definitely, I can't remember precisely what combinations of letters create similar sounds in the two accents, but there are similarities for sure. Either way. Should I just go for the horns? I probably should. I've already broken one. Well, I don't have sonic bombs, so I can't take advantage of this opportunity that you are placing before me on a metaphorical silver platter. Stop it. Yorkshire accent. Well, I don't really know what that sounds like. I'm sure if I heard it, I would identify it as one of the accents that I've heard. But I can't, you know, I don't read Yorkshire and I'm like, oh yeah, that accent, yeah. I'd probably have to live in the country to be familiar with that sort of thing. I would imagine that wherever I would end up living in the UK, I'd probably end up with a very posh accent. And I'd be rolling my R's. You'd better believe I'd be rolling my R's. I would be rolling my R's, let me tell you. Which might really turn you off, but I don't care. I don't care. The only reason why I don't roll my R's is because it does not actually work with my accent, so I'm not going to bother. But yeah. No, I'm quite fine with the way that I speak. It works for me. Well, there you go. Anyway. Who knows, maybe within the next 30 years I will have subconsciously changed my accent into something very English and very posh. Which may, again, not be a positive thing, but either way. It's amazing what you end up morphing your voice into without really actively intending on doing so. It's weird. Anyway. Yeah, exactly. When it comes to tea, I've got a lot of good, English fine bone china tea sets, okay? So, when it comes to that, yes, absolutely. Now, again, I had no real need to hunt that Diablos, but I'm here recording for you guys. Yes, there is an objective that that is not in any way furthered by killing this Diablos, but it's more fun to kill it, so that's what I'm doing. Makes more sense to me. I think your enjoyment is important. And it's not like I'm really sacrificing anything, so... Except for perhaps my time, but I don't really view it in that way. Technically, we sacrifice time simply by being alive, so... Take that into consideration, if you want to take that line of thinking. Now, let's cross our fingers and hope that we have everything we need to fully upgrade this weapon. This is one of the good things about making weapons when you've really progressed quite far through the game. And I usually get this when I'm playing Monster Hunter, and I'm going through end game weapon creation. I will have nothing for low rank and high rank, but once I get into the G rank upgrades, straight to the end. Straight to a fully upgraded weapon. And I don't actually know if this is going to take me to a G rank upgrade after this, so we're going to find out. Got Diablos Spear now. Going into... oh, we have two options. It seems that one is, needless to say, more focused on raw damage, and the other one will indeed have the Slime Awaken. I know for a fact that it is the black Diablos Lance that has the Slime Awaken. That really does bother me, in a way. Because I do want the damage. I want the raw damage focused one as well. Hold on. Is that the fully upgraded version of that? Because that has the exact same raw damage as the Devil Joe Lance, but with less sharpness. It must upgrade further than that, because it has more, or rather, I suppose, less affinity. You could either say less affinity or more negative affinity. I would actually go so far as to say more negative affinity, because less affinity does imply positive. So, it implies that you have some positive affinity, and you're comparing something like 20% to 10%, for example. But if I were to say more negative affinity, that would be less equivocal, and certainly easier to understand. Anyway. Which Diablos is my favorite? Horny Black. Putting words in my mouth now, eh? Hello, Rudy Jin. Negative affinity is the least impactful stat. Well, I'm not so worried about negative affinity, yeah, but some people freak out about it. I don't worry so much about it at all. I think, you know, if you've got negative 10% or negative 20%, I would agree, yeah, not that impactful. But once you're starting to get into negative 40 and above, then your weapon starts to become a bit of a joke, you know. But no, I agree with the thrust of your point, in that you're trying to say that people freak out about negative affinity when it's actually not that bad. You know, it's fine. I can live with it. But yeah, as far as which Diablos is my favourite, I don't like Diablos monsters. What I would say, based on what you've said, is Bloodbath would have to be my favourite, because he's the most creative, he's the most different, there's more going on with him. I don't like Diablos as a monster, I find him to be annoying. I don't say that I dislike him because I think he's a poorly designed monster. I would rather say that he's well designed, but he annoys me because of how he's designed. He is designed to be frustrating, although my friend Ethan wouldn't agree with that. He just thoroughly enjoys the monster for some reason. He might be sick in the head, I'm not sure. I'll have to have a chat with him about it. Have a nice, long discussion with him over a nice glass of port and ask him, hey, are you mentally disturbed? Something like that. But anyway, aside from that tangential point, which I needn't elucidate upon further, yeah, I don't like Diablos, but I do think that, as he was called, Massacre Diablos, I actually started off really not liking Bloodbath Diablos, because back in Double Cross he was called Massacre Diablos, and I remember I said to someone who was, you know, right into Double Cross, I had to hold him up. He was getting very excited, and I said to him, hold on, what's that Diablos called? He said, oh, Massacre Diablos, and I sat there and said, you've got to be joking, right? That is a terrible translation. I don't know what it is in Japanese, but come on, Massacre Diablos? And he's like, well, yeah, what's the problem? I'm like, well, it's terrible. And then I think the conversation ground to a halt and didn't resume, which is a lot of the conversations that I have with people. But seriously, it was just, yeah. But Bloodbath Diablos, I think that's, it is very dramatic. Bloodbath Diablos. I mean, some people would probably think it's a bit ridiculous, but I think it's sufficiently dramatic and extreme for Monster Hunter. If you don't think Monster Hunter is dramatic, read all of the weapon descriptions. Can I read the weapon description of... Let's read the fucking weapon description of this weapon that I have right here. All of them are crazy. A switch axe made from superior burial fangs. All who meet it suffer the grave's cold embrace. Okay? So you tell me if this game's fucking dramatic or if it's not. Anyway. I need to go back up the chat. I've been crapping on too much. Jazza, my first Monster Hunter game was Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Starting with Monster Hunter on the PlayStation 2 is something that I wish I had done. I really wish that I had done that. And you know what? I wish that I had established really well-built characters in those games. I don't struggle to go back to the PS2 games now. Not because... Well, okay, let me put it in these terms. I enjoy playing the PS2 games because I'm comfortable with them now. But if I do struggle to go back to them, and I probably do, it's not because of how they play or anything like that. It's because I've already experienced Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G through Freedom 1. A lot of it is very similar. Yes, you've got Mindguard Village, but I'm not really into it. And there's something quite disturbingly prohibitive about the difficulty level of Monster Hunter 2. Monster Hunter 2 is just designed for sad people. I will definitely go in there and conquer that fucking game. It's very hard. It's almost a different animal entirely. It's Monster Hunter, but not Monster Hunter. It is 100% Monster Hunter, but it is not for your average hunter. It's for people with hair on their chest. The most hirsute individuals you've ever met are the sorts of people who sit there and play Monster Hunter 2 all day. That's what you're dealing with. But yeah, there is such a charm with PS2 Monster Hunter. There's so much charm that is attached to it, at least for me. Because, look, there is no fucking charm if you're a 3rd gen or 4th gen player going back to Monster Hunter 1. There's no fucking charm. It is pure misery. But if you go back and force yourself to deal with Monster Hunter Freedom, the first Freedom game, and you get used to the 1st gen mechanics, you get used to all the things that are, in my opinion, wrong with 1st generation, and you just start to learn to take it at face value. And then you go back to PS2 Monster Hunter. What it is, it's almost like the jank is complete. I guess the best example I can give you is playing an early 3D game on the controller that it was designed to be played on. If you play an early 3D game, let's say mid-90s, and you play it on a modern controller, it just fucking feels bad. It's just awful. But if you play it on a big, clunky controller, like, an original Nintendo 64 controller, it feels right. It feels amazing. You're actually part of the jank. You're almost... You envelop yourself in it. And it just feels right. It's the same thing with PlayStation 2 Monster Hunter. This is what the 1st gen experience is, all of a sudden. When you're playing it like you would play 2nd generation with the same control setup, you really start to notice the extreme rigidity. But if you play it while literally having to use your analog stick to attack with the weapon and having to use the claw even on a PlayStation 2 controller, just the level of discomfort that is present even at the most basic level of using the controller you just become so submerged in jank and mess that it's a case of, well, if you can't beat them, join them, and then your brain just shifts gears and you're like, this is great. That's basically how it's been for me. That's my first gen experience. The first time I touched first gen was Monster Hunter 1, and I was so disgusted I couldn't believe it. And I'm a second gen hunter. I wasn't going from third to first, I was going from second to first, and I was like, what in the precise fuck is this game? It's like it was designed by someone who was mentally deranged. Like a team of mentally deranged people just got together one day and decided, let's make a game to confuse the masses. That's what it felt like the first Monster Hunter game was. But then I got it eventually. I needed to use Freedom 1 as a gateway, and then I understood it. And I get a lot of enjoyment out of first gen Monster Hunter now. But it's not for the faint of heart. You need to fucking commit to it. You need to commit to appreciating it and enjoying it, otherwise, wow, you're in for a rough ride. You're in for, okay, what I will say is that it's not worth subjecting yourself to misery if you're not going to eventually appreciate it when you come out the other end. You have to persevere with it enough to get something out of it. If you just play 40 hours of first gen Monster Hunter, that's 40 hours of pure misery, and if you refuse to return to it ever again, you're never going to appreciate it, and you may as well just block out that memory for the rest of your life, lest it permanently scar you. Every moment of your waking life. And anyway. And that's pretty much first gen Monster Hunter. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't even have time for people who shit on second generation. I don't have time for those people because they actually don't get it. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, once you hit G rank, and you're like me and you've got a lot of G rank stuff, you don't have to worry about it. You just fucking upgrade right through, and you're done. I've got my Rising Tempest, and you know what, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to be using to get most of what we need in this recording. If I haven't spent most of the time that I would be comfortable allocating to this recording, crapping on about random things. Not really random things, it is entirely topical, but, maybe people would prefer a little bit more gameplay. If you would prefer a little bit more gameplay, you're perfectly welcome to register your personal preferences with me in the chat, and then I can promptly ignore those preferences that you have put forward. Look at these stats. Jesus Christ. This is just, that amount of purple is very good. Just crisp, but 460 slime is nothing to snort at. This is disgusting. This weapon makes me sick. Just looking at it, it's like, wow. Anyway. Hello, Ghastly Tal. You seem to recognize that I'm a serial ranter, but I regret to say that I don't recognize your name, but welcome back either way. I hope that you've changed your name. It's not typical that I'll forget people, but yeah, welcome back. Hey. Jazza says, I saw your video on playing For Ultimate with Citra. It changed my life. I hated playing Monster Hunter on the 3DS. You and I are gonna get we're gonna get along swimmingly, okay? Because I fucking hate 3DS Monster Hunter, man. I hate it. And so many people get weak in the knees over it. They don't just like 3DS Monster Hunter, they probably think about it before they go to sleep while touching themselves. It makes me sick. Those people, please, get help. But as far as 3DS Monster Hunter is concerned, I'm divorced from it now. I don't even have to, I could throw my 3DS out tomorrow, and actually it would be an issue. It would be a big issue, for various reasons. Actually, if I were to go into detail about that, you'd get very bored, but it's a very good thing that I didn't throw out my 3DS immediately upon porting everything over to the PC, because I actually needed to go back to it 2 years later to go and get a little bit of information that I hadn't initially ported over, which was essential for upgrading the firmware of the 4 Ultimate version, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it was a good thing that I didn't do that. Now, what is our next objective, given that we have acquired this lance? I'm going to save, because that is a good pickup. What a good weapon. I'm so glad that I've got it. Probably, if you're going to have an Awakened Lance / Gun Lance set, this would be your bread and butter. This is really the go-to weapon. This thing is better than sex. Were you Pro Controller on Citra? That's cool. I have to say, I mean, I started with PS2, not PS2, PSP Monster Hunter. That's far from comfortable, but even that was more comfortable for me. My hands used to sit very nicely on the PSP. And someone's gonna, every time I complain about the 3DS, people say, oh, well, you should have gotten the XL. Hey, I've got news for you. I didn't just have the XL, I had the new 3DS XL. Again, Nintendo with their phenomenal sense of naming. Just marketing kings, these guys. Get the new 3DS XL today. You know, new is a relative term. If you call it the new 3DS XL today in 2022, people are going to think it's actually new. They're going to sit here and go, oh shit, have they come out with a new one? I thought they were dropping this system. Well, no, actually, it was new back in 2015. So, yeah. But yeah, I used that. That system was a bomb. Absolute embarrassment to the gaming world of the mid-2010s. It was just a joke. Like, the top screen looked like someone had lathered it in Vaseline, and that little nub was so atrocious, it could not control the camera in the way that you wanted to in a Monster Hunter game. It couldn't do it. I had to dig my thumbnail into it to actually get it to respond enough, and you know what that resulted in? I had basically severed the thing in two by the time I was done with it. I actually had to get the thing fucking replaced, and then I severed it again into 2 pieces. From having to dig my thumbnail into it to tug the stupid thing to actually get the camera to respond fast enough. But you know what? I'd still rather that than having to use the touchscreen to move the camera. I nearly fell off my fucking chair when someone said to me, with a straight face, well, I just used the touchscreen to control the camera. I nearly fucking shat. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, the fact that you think that's okay, you just don't realize what people get used to. And then you hear these war stories and people are like, yeah, that was life, you know, and they don't even think it's a problem. And I'm just sitting here like, you fucking, you pitiful, pitiable person. Anyway, let's move on from that subject. You can tell that it's a deep-seated rage that I contain within me at all times. It probably affects my every waking action in life. I have to maintain, and I'll reiterate this, I thought it was a joke when people said that Monster Hunter was coming to the 3DS. It was first rumoured to be happening in like 2011, and when I first heard it, I was 100% convinced it was a joke. Stop doing this! They don't give you yes or no prompts when you make these decisions. So sometimes you press the button, like the selection button, too many times, and you're going back and forth between things that you don't intend. Again, it just happened. Whatever. What I'm doing right now, it's fine. I don't need to go online. In fact, I will. I wanted to go online just so that I could show you how many people are on at the moment. It's probably not many at all. I'm not going to hunt with anyone. My objective at this time is to get Bathysite. Unless I can get into a room with people who want to do G-rank Genmoran, and I just do an actual proper Genmoran hunt, and then I... 4 people. Oh, look at... See these people? These people know what's going on. If you don't have any desire to play with the community, go over here, because no one's going to give a fuck. No one's going to look at that and go, oh, I want to play with you. No, 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 no. You will be ignored, and it will be better off that way. We don't have to go into room A, lobby 1, and then look at your locked room in a forlorn manner, wishing that we could go in there. If you sequester yourself outside of our field of vision, it is for the benefit of all people who play this game. All people. And that was the substance of my rant last time I was recording this game. It was the fact that so many people don't do that. You know, the Vita... I mean, that's a whole subject. I mean, we all know why Monster Hunter didn't come out on the Vita. That's very well established, and it's not worth even giving that the time to discuss it. But I played Freedom Unite on the Vita. My friend got a Vita around the time it came out, and he knew that I was into Monster Hunter. I had even at that stage failed to get him into Monster Hunter. I tried to get him into 3 Ultimate, and he downloaded the demo, and he wasn't into it. But I successfully got him into the Soul series with Demon Souls a few years prior to that, and I was pretty fucking happy with that. But, you know, take what you can get. I failed when it came to Monster Hunter with him, but he did download Freedom Unite on his Vita, and I tried it out, and it was then that I realised that with the Monster Hunter games where you've got the snapping camera, instead of that free-moving camera from 4th gen, you know, first through till 3rd gen, where you had the different modes, you know, you had the camera looking up, and then you had the camera sort of horizontal, and then looking down. That did not work well at all with the sensitivity of the right analog stick, if you could call it that, of the Vita. The Vita was too sensitive, and I found that while playing Freedom Unite, I was constantly, you know, when I wasn't just automatically going to use the claw because I was a PSP player, you know, an original PSP player, yeah, I found that I was constantly, you know, shifting the perspective of my camera accidentally because the analog stick was too sensitive. So, yes, the Vita is very good for, say, 4th generation Monster Hunter, which is what it would have been. But for older Monster Hunter, no. Don't play it on the Vita, it's very uncomfortable. And you know what, I said that to someone else who had a Vita. You know, you sort of have to look underneath rocks to find people who own Vitas these days. But I found someone, you know, after years of searching, and after years of looking under rocks, because that's apparently what I do in my free time, I found a person, one person, who had a Vita, and he actually corroborated that experience. He said, yes, I completely agree. And he gave me the impression that I had just furnished him with an anecdote that he thought he'd never hear in his life. He thought he was the only person who'd experienced that on planet Earth. And, you know, he happened to find another person who had not only physically played on a Vita, but had also played Freedom Unite on a Vita. And I told him, yes, that was my experience. And he was like, yeah, man. Yeah, me too. That's what it was like. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. So, we're going to do Genmoran, but we're not going to solo it, okay? No, what I'll do is I'll first and foremost show you what I have to deal with. This is what I have to deal with, because earlier on today, before I went to work, I'm now back from work, it's evening. This is my after work time, before bed time. I tried to mine some Bathysite in the flooded forest, and I was met with crushing failure. Crushing in the sense that I did 2 runs and didn't even get 1. Which is in sharp contradistinction to every recollection that I have in my young mind of having mined for Bathysite prior to this point in my life. Whenever I needed Bathysite, I would mine in G-rank in the flooded forest, and I would get it without issue. That has not happened. So, there you go. Gyro sticks, yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of people who are using those PSP nubs on the new 3DS XL. I wish I would have done that. But apparently it's not a super simple modification, you do actually have to do a little bit with it. I was always under the impression that my friend, Ethan, to whom I referred previously, had actually made that modification himself, because he kept on going on about it. Every time I complained about that nub to him, and I, didn't exactly do it ad hominem, but over a course of, a multi-year relationship, I would have mentioned it on occasion. Every time he would, trundle out the same old story. I'll just put the PSP nub on the 3DS thing, and I'm like, well, okay, great. And then I found out that he never actually did it himself. And it also turns out that it wasn't that simple of a modification to make. He always, made it seem that that was how it was too. On the first node, I suppose I should be recording my attempts more often. Apparently when I'm recording, things just go better. I can't fucking believe my eyes. I did 2 runs, which was probably equivalent to the mining of 6 nodes. Maybe not 6, maybe 4. In fact, no, I think it was 3 runs, come to think of it. And I didn't even get 1. First node on the first try, first run, and I get 2. Wow. Again, I should record more often. I know one person who still plays his Vita. It's a beautiful system. The Vita, it's easy to make jokes about it because, again, it fell into obscurity so quickly. But anyone who has physically played on a Vita knows that it was a beautiful system, and it is that system which is representative of what a handheld portable system should have been in the mid-2010s, okay? But most people's experience with a handheld during that time period was the fucking 3DS. And so they think the 3DS is fine. That thing was absolute balls, okay? That system was an embarrassment. If you had ever held a Vita, you would know. That was actually a system worthy of the era within which it released. So, there you go. Because until the person's actually played on a Vita, they don't get it. They're like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, there's nothing wrong with the 3DS. The 3DS is a great system. You know what was great about the 3DS? The games that came out on it. That's it. That's it. Outside of that, it can go in the bin. Fucking 3DS. You know what was better than the 3DS? The Nintendo DS Lite and the Nintendo DSi. You know the only problem with the DSi? It was the fact that it did not have backwards compatibility with Game Boy Advance games. That was the problem with the DSi. The fact that they removed that functionality really did just... Ugh. That ruined it for me. I actually got a DSi, having said all that. And my DSi, the touchscreen actually failed on it within about 7 months. And I didn't even play it all that much. I think the only game I played on it was Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. I think that was literally it. All the other games I just played on my Lite. And there was a reason for that. And then also the backwards compatibility with Game Boy Advance games. But yeah, that touchscreen failed pretty quickly. So I'm not saying that was typical, I'm just saying that the DSi could have been better. It had a good front camera. Oh, a good front camera. Well, it looked like it did anyway. It was big and circular. But you can now run Game Boy Advance games off the SD card on the DSi. Well, that's very exciting. Look, I'm sorry, but that doesn't interest me, and I'll tell you why. It's because if I'm going to play an old game like that on a physical system, like a handheld system, I want to play off the actual cartridge. I want the authentic experience of actually loading it off the cartridge. You know what I do with my Game Boy Advance games now? and people are going to find this pretty funny, I use my GameCube with the GameCube Game Boy Player add-on. That physical add-on that would go on the bottom of the GameCube, and I slot it into the bottom of my GameCube, and I play with an official Game Boy Player disc. And that's how I play my games, and I have an actual Game Boy Advance that I plug into my GameCube to use as a controller. That is the authentic experience. And people are just going to have to live with that. Some people don't need that. I need that. So, there you go. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely for me. I actually had a very successful attempt at getting Bathyside ore there. I really did think I was going to have to pull a few suicide runs with Gem Moran in G-Rank, but no. It turns out that will not be necessary whatsoever. It's only an hour and 15 minutes since I started. God damn. This has been a very slow recording. It's okay, I'm having fun. This is one of those rare occasions where I'm enjoying myself, but everything's going in slow motion, and I'm fine with that. Fine, like, great. Feels more like 2 hours have passed, shit. Anyway, I guess I've just been... Well, no, there is no real way for me to make sense of that, but it doesn't matter. I will, do some mining, and then I'll pour another glass of... Oh, not vino, but just white wine, thank you. Vino isn't just a generic term for wine. I think it's a generic term for red wine in Italian. But anyway, I'll get off that subject. Because I'm laying bare for all to see my illiteracy when it comes to the Italian language. Italian? Yeah, mate, I speak Italian. Italian, mate. Italian. How is Monster Hunter Online? That is a big question. Well, a short question, but one that requires a big answer. Monster Hunter Online had a lot of issues, but it looked beautiful. Incidentally, I can say the exact same thing for Monster Hunter World. But you know what was different between those two games? One of them was 3rd gen and the other one was 5th gen, and guess which one's better? Yeah. I call Monster Hunter Online 5th gen, or I refer to it as such, because that's very much how the game performed. The way the hunter moved and the way the weapons felt to play, it was 3rd gen, which in my opinion is the perfectly balanced Monster Hunter. Not balanced in the sense of the weapons and perfectly in balance. I mean, strictly, the relationship between the graphics and the inherent rigidity of Monster Hunter. It was best expressed in 3rd generation, in my opinion. In fact, the game that I'm playing right now is, in my opinion, the best Monster Hunter game. So, yeah. That was the best thing going for Monster Hunter Online. It was the fact that it looked beautiful. Really, really good. I felt that Monster Hunter Online looked better than World, to be completely honest. Maybe not in every regard, but in certain regards, yeah. All the budget went into the graphics of that game. And it showed. In the negative regard, and the positive regard. In the negative regard, it had a lot of issues. For example, there was some sort of Java-related issue which caused the game to progressively run worse the longer you kept the heads-up display on the screen. You'd have to actually remove the heads-up display from the screen to reset the game performance. Like, the game would start performing like real shit, and then you'd remove the HUD, the heads-up display, and then it would go back to perfectly normal performance again. And then you could bring up the heads-up display and it would be fine for a little while, and then it would start to slowly shit itself again. Little things like that, well, I wouldn't really call that a little thing, that's a major thing, that's actually awful. That is what I'm talking about. The whole game is filled with these sorts of issues, and it was a real problem. Hey Vernon, good to see you. yeah, a lot of people started watching me from that video. That's really the most important thing as a content creator. It is to come out with a few videos that get picked up by the algorithm, and then you can just go on and do your own thing, and people will come and check you out, and if they like it, they'll stay. If they don't, they'll fuck off, and that's a good thing. I'm glad that I've got, you know, 2 well-received Monster Hunter Online videos and a well-received For Ultimate video. That has really helped me when it comes to Monster Hunter content creation. And thanks for sticking around, of course. I appreciate that. I should have enough Bathysite now to upgrade what is to be, and I didn't actually go into details about this at all because I was likely wittering on about something. But the weapon that I'm working on at this stage will be my Awaken Ice Lance. I have the Brilliant Fluid required, I'm glad. Eterno Crown, well that's right, we're into the G rank stuff now. This might actually be the last upgrade, is it? It's very low sharpness if so, I almost hope that it's not true. Please don't be so, thank you. Idean Crown, there you go. That's what I want to see. Alright, so we are an hour and 20 minutes in, we have crafted 2 new weapons. We've got our Slime Awaken Lance, and our Ice Awaken Lance. Not too bad. Now I made the ice one because I wanted to use that to make another weapon. Which one was that? Whatever I need for fire. Whatever I need for the Babel Spear. What would that be? Uragan. Wait, that doesn't sound right. No, did I need ice to make water? What's my water thing? Rust Duramboros. No, but it goes further back. I think I need to make the Acrous Lance, which is the Lagucrous Lance, and then make Rust Duramboros. It's a bit of a mess. I've actually got it up on my decks. Okay, this is a bit of a mess, okay? If I want to make my Water Awaken Lance, I need to forge the Acrous Lance. I could upgrade into it, but I want to forge it. I have to forge the Acrous Lance. And then I can upgrade into the Duramboros Lance, which will then, within its own upgrade path, have an option to branch into Rust Duramboros. Rust Duramboros will have a Water Awaken option. I still will just randomly think about the Bounce Bomb guy story throughout the day and laugh my ass off. Okay. The Bounce Bomb story, which has been requested. Okay, so it had been a number of years since I had religiously status gunned Elatrion for horns, and I was back in 3 Ultimate after a few years. I was ready to go. I had my Master Kettle Blower, this set over here. I may as well illustrate it further. This set. I had this set ready to go. I mean, it's not the perfect set. I mean, some would say that you need actual recoil down if you're going to status properly, but it functions well. Okay, shut up. And I was ready to go. I had the strategy down pat. It's a lot of setup time. You have to get combination materials for bombs. You have to get combination materials for all of your different shot types. Bombs, especially if you're going to make a lot, you need large barrels, gunpowder, scatterfish. There's probably a lot more at play even than that. Yeah, of course, then, large barrel bombs as well. Anyway, the point is that there's a lot of combination materials that you need. I'm all set up, and I said to the team, bring bombs. And, you know, it seemed to be well understood by the team. All they need to do is bring bombs, and for the most part, we can get these horns broken. Start with a sleep. We're all placing down bombs. And then this one guy turns up, stands next to the bombs, and drops his bounce bomb. Detonates the bombs, obviously, incorrectly. and blows us all away with his fucking bounce bomb. Yes, I told him to bring bombs, but not a fucking bounce bomb. Not at all. And I suppose my only regret, in hindsight, would be that I didn't record the moment, because that would have been the immortal disbelief and incredulity of an utterly incensed Doomlink. Just a Doomlink that has basically had a minor meltdown, and yeah. You have brought fucking bounce bombs when I ask you to bring bombs. Like, that was the only thing you had on hand? And then on top of that, you didn't even know how they functioned. What did he think that it was going to do? There's no language barrier issue. It would be in the language that he'd understand. If he's playing the European version. I mean, bounce, what's it doing? It's not standing still if it's bouncing, is it, for God's sake? Anyway, it's just ridiculous. But, I mean, you can imagine. Bring bombs, and he drops a bounce bomb on the head. It would be less funny as a skit, but if it happens in front of you, and it's on another level, it's fucking crazy. Yeah, what am I doing? After that bounce bomb story, I'm getting... Oh, shit. No, I can use this. I'll use this lance, that's fine. What I'll do is I'll head over to Moga Village. I think I can go from here, yes. I can fast travel from there. That's a very Freedom Unite sort of thing. And we'll go and do Lagia Cruise. I am... Well, I wouldn't say strictly solo, Vernon, but I am very much focused on my objectives, and I would prefer to do a solo village. It would be faster and just a little cleaner. So, yeah, I'm just going to be doing this today. But if it feels like it would be, like, let's say for instance, I need to kill something in G rank, having you there would make a huge difference, Vernon, so thank you for the offer. Laggy, must be this list. Or not. I'm just exceptionally blind. Here we go. The Fisherman's Fiend, which I, rather regrettably for a period of, well, probably for the entire time that I played Try, I read this as the Fisherman's Friend, because, you know, I enjoy Fisherman's Friend. Are they lozenges, technically? Whatever they are. Yeah, Fisherman's Friend. That's how I always read this. And then I realized, oh, that's not what that says. It's rather the opposite to friend. But, anyway. Alright. Well, underwater bounce bombs are actually entirely viable. They're really good. As I understand it, they almost home in on the monster. They're pretty good. Alright. Let's head on over. Oh, I had best get another glass of wine. I'll be back in a moment. I'm back. Ugh. Excuse the creaky chair. I must always apologize for it. Well, if Jezza knows me at all, I also fucking hate switch ads. Anyway. Damn it. I'm trying to ensure that my chair is not out of shot. It's not like, you know, my chair needs to be in shot. That's not like the primary subject of the camera shot right now, but if it gets cut off slightly, it is distracting. And I don't like it. This is way too angry. This is ridiculous. It's almost a profile view of me. The reason why I do that, by the way, if you're wondering why I have such a strict angle to my side, it's because I don't want... I need to be close to my microphone, for various reasons, but I don't want the front of the microphone, the windscreen covering the diaphragm, to be literally covering my face from your perspective. I don't want that. So that's why I have to basically film myself at that angle. I'm not happy about it, but, you know, that is what is needed. Whoa! Well, I didn't even know that there was a Wii U 3 Ultimate Bundle. I'm not surprised that there was, but I didn't know about it. Well, perhaps I did, but I had since forgotten. Hitting your face if you don't mind. Very good. Your timing is adequate. I have no specific critique to make. Oh, stop it. I was out of range. I mean, apparently I wasn't because I got hit, but I'm fairly satisfied that I was out of range. Oh, come on. Very well. Alright. Look at me. Okay, well how am I to adjust myself under these circumstances? That should suffice. I really want to get the slime explosion on the face. That's very important. That'll do a lot in breaking. Well, it'll assist greatly in breaking the horns, okay? Now turn to face me, please. That is not what I'm talking about. Alright, you've had your fun. Stop it, really? This is an insult. Now look at me. Thank you. Wait, are the horns a single break? They probably are, aren't they? I've probably done all I need to do. Okay. So I just need to get in there and hit the chest and I'll be okay. Well, there you go. I mean, that almost looked like some sort of net-related delay. But I'm playing solo, so really. Sorry, not sorry. My weapon's overpowered, and I'm enjoying the results. I actually intended to counter that, but apparently I'm not that good. I would have been in the past. Many eons ago. Stop it. Oh, please. Imagine using... Oh. Ryujin, I really hope that you're joking. Using the Wiimote and nunchuck in try? Ugh. The gaming gods frown upon you. I can't really think of a worse way to profane Monster Hunter Tri than to use it, or to experience it. I guess control it with that control setup. Ugh. I would like to one-zone you, and after having sharpened, I rather have the expectation that I will, and if I fail to do it, I'm going to be real hard on myself. Real hard on myself. Whoops. Okay. If you're wondering why I did a random Lance slap, it's because I've played too much 2nd gen and I'm used to pressing X and A, which is triangle and circle on the PSP, to do Lance charges. Oh, come on. No, no you don't. Nope. Not happening. Not happening. No. Nope. Yes! Kill him! Don't you dare. Even so much as suppose for a moment that you're going to get out of here alive, you motherfucker. Well, I suppose he might succeed at this point. Yeah, he's going to succeed. Okay, well, fine. I will sharpen up. And that would have been exceedingly satisfying had I one-zoned him under those circumstances. I was bloodthirsty. My sanguine desire to end this monster's life nearly allowed me to defy all the odds. Well, I didn't have the stamina to deal with you doing that, so maybe the backhopping wasn't as sensible a decision as I first thought. Alrighty. Well, apparently Vernon also enjoys Wiimote and nunchuck controls, so whatever. At least you've got a friend. We used to call them waggle controls, you know. Excuse the slurping. I hasten to add that it's not very loud, but when you're right up on the microphone it sounds loud, and I apologise. Rather poor manners. It was just a horn that I needed, right? If it was a fucking horn plus that I needed, I'm going to be very... No. It's just the Diablos Lance that I want, so... You know, did I fight the high rank version? Interestingly, I think that I intended to fight the low rank Lagia Cruz, and it just so happened that in spite of fighting the high rank version, I got a low rank horn, which is precisely what I wanted. So I made a mistake, and the game still delivered upon my desideratum, which is, needless to say, very yeah, pleasing. Let's have a look and see if I'm correct. It must be that way because it's a it's a rarity 3 weapon that I'm making, so it wouldn't need a horn plus. It definitely wouldn't need a horn plus. That's right, I'm forging it from scratch. Lance, Diablos Lance. Very good. I'm glad I've got the tail that I need. Diablos Lance. Well, unfortunately I don't need to upgrade you. It's the Boros. That's just really weird. Because when you write it like Boros, it's almost like it's part of a Japanese name, but it's... For anyone who's familiar with the Japanese names of the monsters, it's Doboruberku. So, there's no Boros anywhere, it's Doboruberku. So, yeah. No. It's already Water Awaken. It may just upgrade into Rust Rambros on its own. It goes from being this halberd to being like an axe polearm. It's really cool. I love it. Is this a halberd or a naginata? Probably more like a halberd, yeah. I'm glad I've got just enough that... Okay, now I need fusium, which is not assuring. I don't like having to mine this. Vernon used to rub it in my face that he has so much fusium ore and I have like none. Every time I need fusium I have to mine for it, seriously. I've already had to... I had to do it for my ice lance before. Temblor Ilboros. Hard moss plate, I can only imagine. Drops from breaking the back. Well... I know what I can do. I can bring a good old pierce gun and just shit on a Durambros and see how many hard moss plates I can get. Where are my guns? Heavy P. Yeah, heavy P. High pressure jet hose of a... No. Doomlink, sometimes it's better not to be intentionally funny. It does not behoove you to stoop so low. Do I need combination materials? What I'll do is I'll bring huskberries and bird wyvern fangs. That should be appropriate for level 1. I don't think I need to bring pin tuna for level 3 combinations, PS3 combinations. For a high rank monster, I don't think that'll be necessary. I'm already going to have a lot of damage under my belt, so it should be perfectly fine. I would even go so far as to suggest that this will be more than enough. I don't think if you could actually accept my controller inputs game. I don't even know what I'm looking for. Let's just go for attack up large, game changer. I want to be invaded by a Devil Joe today. What is that gold statue thing in my chest? It has something to do with the story. I don't remember when it appears in the chest. It's pretty weird. I don't really know much about it either. It's one of the... I don't even remember where that weird idol-looking thing appears from, but there's one in my chest and one outside my chest, and it's very weird. I can't remember precisely when it appeared, but it is something that happens during the story. I don't know. I'm not saying that there's an actual in-depth explanation as to why it's there. I'm just saying that it relates to story progression. What can I say? Now, we are doing Doboruberku, so he should be in this list. Presumably. Are you shitting in my cereal, or are you shitting in my mouth? Have you bypassed my comfortable morning meal and gone straight for the jugular, so to speak? Anyway. I will go this. That's not the faster way to go. You know this map better than that, Doomlink, come on. You're better than this. You want to go this way. And if you were real clean, you'd do a reload into the next area. Let's see how many steps I was from it. Oh, I was not even close. That's alright. I happen to not be as adroit as I first thought when it comes to reloading into the next area. Whoops, need to aim that a little higher. But yeah, I have no shortage of damage at this stage. So I almost feel sorry for this monster. No. Don't feel too sorry for a Doomlink. It'll take whatever opportunity it can to get one over on you. And that's why we use Evade Extender, ladies and gentlemen. Allow the efficacy of the strategy speak for itself. I need not justify it. It does it on its own. Stop! Now you're just being annoying. Can you attack my... Cha-Cha, what are you doing? If you have something that you need to say, then... Oh, actually, I can probably get him to drop a trap or something. I'll ping for it. Yeah, drop a trap, Cha-Cha. Are you really putting it right there? That's pretty impressive. I mean, it was entirely intentional. I mean, really. It's a little overkill to be doing this, but... Look, I just want Cha-Cha to leave me alone. He's gonna fucking follow me if I... That's why he's doing that. It's because he's got a mask that causes him to place down a trap on my position. So he's trying to ensure that he's within range of me, so that I may better place my trap. But seriously, I'm trying to reduce the chance of being targeted. I'm gunning, you know. Oh, hello. That Alteroth was magnetically attracted to me. Perhaps not even figuratively. Because I almost can't believe how quickly he was ready to attack me. I thought that I'd been rolling for the best part of an eternity. And then I finally stopped to begin aiming my gun, and the Alteroth is there attacking me already. I couldn't believe it. Your life is coming to an end. Actually, it probably isn't. I'm being exceptionally overconfident. Duramboros has a lot of health. I happen to have a lot of damage, but he has a lot of health. So I had best respect that. And not engage in hubristic, overconfident foolishness and similar pettifoggery. Oh, don't do this. That's the worst thing, when you're trying to shoot a pierce shot at a spinning Duramboros, and he just elegantly spins away from your shot, so as to perfectly evade it. Very good. I'll take what I can get. Well, no. We only just... we only just finished our Pierce level 3. I'm happy to move on to Pierce level 2 now. Vernon, the experience that you and I had trying to get Ivory Lagia Crew's horns, hard horns specifically, was one of the saddest experiences that I've ever had on the behalf of someone else. You know, it wasn't me who was struggling to get it, it was you, and I felt awful. Mostly for me having to constantly fight this damn thing for it. I mean, yes, there was an element of empathy that I could conjure to send in your direction, but I was sick of fighting that damn monster, and this was worse than a mantle. I mean, you probably got 3 mantles in the time that it took for you to get 1 Hearthorn. It was shocking, I couldn't believe it. I've never seen someone experience luck that was that bad. And it wasn't just 1 that you needed either, you needed a few. It was a bad time. Probably almost as bad as my long fragments. And that was bad. It only just came to an end now, the great saga is finally over. Yeah, stop with the tail thing. I get that that's your shtick, as they say, but I've had enough of them. I just want you to die now. I think it is about time. Nope. Could not have rolled in a better direction, although it may not appear as if that is the case. What I was doing was I was aiming for the frontal hitbox of the tail, which was precisely what I needed to avoid, and that is indeed what I succeeded in avoiding. Alright. Are you going to stand still? No, you're going to continue to pursue me, in spite of the fact that you are hungry. Although I suppose if he needs food, he's probably going to be coming after me, but is he carnivorous or herbivorous? This is the question. That is the question on everybody's lips. Does this monster consume flesh? If it does, then I'm in trouble. Doomlink's in trouble. Duramboros is hungry. And there's a meal right here for him. Long blonde hair. Like some elven heartthrob. He's even got a little ponytail as well. Elven heartthrob is on the menu, and Duramboros is ready to partake. Sometimes I come out with absolute garbage, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying I'm an elven heartthrob, I'm saying that, you know, the character is that. I mean, look at his hair. He looks like he just got fucking thrown out of Rivendell with a gun, ready to... He's back and he's pierced, you know. And they saw him popping a stiffy in the presence of Lady Galadriel, and they were like, get this guy out. And now he's back with a vengeance. Fuck knows what I'm on about, seriously. If you're trying to make sense of it, then stop. Alright, well that monster's dead. How many heavy moss plates are we going to get? Oh, I don't really want Duramboros shell. That's not what I'm looking for. Nor Duram carapace. It might have assisted me greatly to actually check to see how to get heavy moss plates. Which I could have very easily done. Let me do that now. Imagine doing that after the quest is complete. What the fuck? Maybe I could have captured. Let's have a gander. Heavy moss plate. Not only are you shitting in my mouth, you are defecating with incredible force directly down my throat. This is a G rank drop. I didn't even realize that I was in the G rank level. Vernon, I'm in need of assistance. Post haste. I need your immediate bow prowess. See, this is a hard moss plate. Unless... Oh no, this is entirely possible. I might have thought that it was heavy moss plate, but it's actually hard moss plate. It turns out that I'm being manifestly dramatic. So let's take a step back. and come to terms with 2 points. Point 1, it's not a G rank drop. Point 2, I got 1 out of like 6 that I need, and I just spent, you know, however much time killing that stupid green bastard. Okay, what is it again? Sort your weapons, board or spear. It is hard, moss player. Oh my god. Well, let's see what the drops are. Excuse me. You filthy man. Well, it's technically better to capture. It's a 4% better drop if you capture, which is not... Like, I don't feel like I've just completely wasted a hunt in having killed the monster instead of capturing, so... Breaking the hump is definitely what you want to do. So, yeah, you know what? I think I approached that pretty reasonably. What? I'm glad it's not just me. It turns out that Flomu is talking about killing Plesioth, but it auto-corrected to Prescott. Okay, he killed... I killed Prescott yesterday when I needed small lobster shell from capturing only. And I'm sitting here going, oh, yes. There's some sort of real-life anecdote from an assassin who was trying to, I don't know, steal some guy's leftovers from yesterday's dinner. I don't know. Fuck if I know half the time. Anyway, I'm glad that you were referring to Plesioth and not, you know, Prescott. The only Prescott that I know of was George Bush Sr.'s father. Yeah, Prescott Bush. Fuck me. It's an old name. It's not the sort of name you'd find anymore. Hey, Koroku. Good to see you. What am I doing? I'm still hunting this monster. Hey, Vernon. I'm glad that you're loading up, because we're going to do this together. It may have been a false alarm, but I do want your assistance. I'm going to make a room... Stop doing that. Again, the lack of yes or no prompts for making these selections has bedeviled me for the entirety of my experience having played this game. There are 8 people playing, wow. Well, there you go. Let's join lobby 1. I'm going to make a room. Stuff help. Okay, well, fair enough. Thanks for the hunt, says Nafod92 in the lobby. Yeah, no problem, mate. Oh shit. My keyboard is not within reach. Neither my gamepad nor my keyboard is within reach. You know what that means? It's time for Hunters 2025. Excuse me, 225. There is a distinct lack of a digit that would facilitate the enunciation of 2025 in the reading of that number. Alright. The target is any at this stage. Looking for cash. Yep. I don't know. 2025 is just around the corner. It's another one of those significant dates that people used to use as this futuristic date to have your futuristic fictional setting take place in. Well, it's 2022, man. So, we're getting there. We're getting there. I will use the same loadout, as boring as it may be. And, you know, thanks to just you and I being here, Vernon, we are adding to the community play count to the point where people are going to wonder what's going on. Oh shit, look how many people are here today. What's happened? There's been a boom in popularity. That's basically what's happening. Now, we want high rank. We want... what is that? 5-star? Yeah. The screen is far away. It makes small stars hard to count. I do happen to be sufficiently numerate to count up to the number 5. Just in case you didn't know. Where is Diablos in this list? Don't tell me he's in 4-star. Well, he must be. He is. He's a canteen quest. Oh, very good. Sir Nugget. And Malps. Jesus Christ, what is going on? It's like I'm playing an active game. Am I living in the Twilight Zone? Changing gear, says Sir Nugget. Well, I hope you didn't put your expectations up too high in joining this room. We're doing high rank stuff for the moment. I almost can't believe my eyes. There are actually people playing this game. Admittedly, I don't usually come on at this time. I make the mistake of coming on in the early mornings, my time, when most of the Europeans have fallen asleep and the Americans, who incidentally don't play this game, are indeed not here. So, because they don't play the game. So yeah, I guess this is the time to play. I'll do that in future. Please no. Bounce bomb meta. Keep it away. Oh, if only quality was directly related to popularity. If only. I mean, we'd be living in a dreamland at that point, wouldn't we? Popularity being proportionate to quality. Oh. What a wonderful world. Sorry, I need to sound like I have emphysema if I'm going to sing that song. What a wonderful world. That's how you sing the song. Imagine singing and sounding like a fucking cartoon character while you're singing. That's basically what was going on with that song. Okay, sorry if I'm uncultured, sorry if I'm insensitive, but seriously, you sound like a fucking cartoon character. I hate that song. It's like a beautiful... what do you call them? Why has the word escaped me? It doesn't matter. Long story short, it's almost a beautiful song, and then you realize the guy's a cartoon character, so it's like, okay. Thank you, Jezza. It's alright, I mean, there's definitely been a celebration of emphysema. Just look at fucking Janis Joplin. That girl couldn't carry a fucking tune in a bucket. Not in the 60s, she used to be brilliant. She really was, Janis Joplin. But then next thing you know, it's like, she literally... like, whatever tune she's singing is getting caught in her throat, and it's like... and that's, you know, whoa, listen to this girl sing. Ooh. Very avant-garde. I mean, seriously. End my life. She's fucking choking on her own phlegm into the microphone, and it's, you know, the next big hit of 1970. Please, stop. Anyway. Sorry, I'm severely uncultured, as you can all tell, but I don't have to like things that are apparently good. Of course, the ultimate irony of that is that I listen to a lot of music where not much singing goes on, but a whole lot of screaming goes on, so... the hint is the hair. But anyway. I don't know. Well, get out of the way of the tail. See that? You go in to avoid the tail hitbox, which is rather distant from the monster. And then you get back out of range. Sometimes getting close to the monster can help, but it certainly doesn't help when it comes to dealing damage, for reasons that I'd like to think are fairly obvious. When a person is using a pierce bow gun, wherein which appropriate critical distance being maintained when shooting is required at all times. Perhaps not required, but certainly ideal. Well, I'll at least get to this angle. This angle is passable for pierce. This is going to be nice and fast. We're not going to take the time to try and capture. I'm doing this because I want hard moss plates, okay? As far as the Fusimore, I'm just going to have to live with it. It's not like Vernon can give me his incredible supply of Fusimore. This impenetrably large mountain of Fusimore that he dangles before me at every opportunity that presents itself to him. Because it is indeed above rarity 3, but yeah. Black metal is the one. What is the thing? Like you need black metal, not those new metal kids who go from singing melodically to then screaming. I mean, that's just ugh. Some of it perhaps is okay, maybe passable, but you know, you don't go from sounding like you're about to burst into tears into the microphone to then screaming. I mean, at that point, just stop. Like, go back to almost crying, please, for the benefit of everyone. Why am I consuming a psychoserum? Well, I know why I was doing it, but I ask the question rhetorically, so that you might better consider for yourselves why I might have done something so profoundly unnecessary. Why did I not need to climb that to get through? I don't understand. It's like I began to climb. You know what I'll do? I'll just fucking capture. This is great. This is actually an opportunity to capture. I can actually get a better drop chance without even having to try. It looks like Malps could smell my desire to capture. He could actually sense it. That's the difference, ladies and gentlemen, between playing with people from the new games and people from the old games. This guy could smell from that distance away that I wanted to capture this monster. And he stood still. He waited. And good on him for doing it. You're dead right, Jezza. And you know what's really sad about it? People actually look back on that with nostalgia now. Seriously. But I won't dwell on that. I won't dwell on it. I was fortunate enough to be put on the right path. At the age of 6, I was blasting Iron Maiden, okay? Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Iced Earth. That's what I was listening to at the age of 6, so you can imagine how quickly I was progressing into, like, actual decent music. And that's very good music, but what I mean is, like, my path was a little more refined than some. Some people were listening to fucking Drowning Pool, okay? So I was a few steps ahead of those fucking people. I mean, Drowning Pool was not terrible. I'm just going to get off this subject. It's better that I do. It's better that I do. But anyway. I didn't actually check to see how many hard moss plates I picked up. But I almost find myself certain that I did not get enough to upgrade this weapon. We're going to have a look. Shit. That's alright. One more should suffice, hopefully. Unless I get another one of those kill results that yields one single hard moss plate. Which is perfectly probable, honestly. I can't go into lower leveled new gen hunters hubs in Rise as a high rank or as a high hunter rank and say hi. They leave immediately. What? I don't know. Who cares? The online experience of Rise is so bereft of any substance of quality that they should have just removed online functionality entirely from the end release of the game. Like, they fucked it up so bad that they just shouldn't have bothered with it. I'd rather play the game solo only and actually prevent other people from playing it, you know. Just stop. Just don't even do it. If Capcom, in their infinite wisdom, have the capacity to fuck up an online Monster Hunter that badly, they should also have the presence of mind to at least shield us from their madness. Which theoretically is illogical, but I said it anyway and we're going to go with it. Very respectable, Jezza. Nothing wrong with that. That's what you want to grow up with. That sets you on the right path. Some people have to find it, some of us were lucky enough to be put right from the start. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, Flomu. For me, I don't worry about the classic old school level of communication with Rise players. Not that I play that game. I haven't played that game since the first week of release, so I don't want to, you know, perpetuate any misapprehensions as to my play of Rise. I don't play it. But if they can't even get the fundamentals of online right in that game, then I'm not really going to worry so much about the quality of life aspects, like how I'm going to communicate with people or community interaction. Forget that shit. The game is shit online. So, yeah, forget it. Just terrible. Whoa. I am very fortunate that we do have a group of 4 people to help me through this, because soloing Duramboros does take a little bit of time. He does have a lot of health. And a little bit of a fast track through the process does alleviate a little bit of the monotony. But you know, monotony is just one of those things that you have to deal with. What is monotony? It is hunting the same monster over and over again. Now, that is the essence of monster hunting. That is the reality. So, you know, you just have to live with that, don't you? You either enjoy it or you don't. I enjoy not so much the hunting of monsters over and over again, I enjoy the results that come as a result. Let me rephrase that. I enjoy the spoils of the investment that requires the monotony to be experienced. So, yeah. Building a character is very satisfying. And being able to then use that character in, for example, a recording series, such as what I do, to use whatever I want at any time to hunt whatever monster or quest is on the board, is really, for me, the end game of Monster Hunter. Everyone has their own way of doing it. That's how I do it. Good hunt, though. Very good hunt. I'm happy to see that I've carved a hard moss plate. I think I only need 2 more. Well, the fact that I have 2 in my inventory means nothing. It could very well be the case that I did not put my previous materials away. Maybe I did, but I don't know. Well, how could I have possibly... Yeah, I couldn't have possibly carved 5 items. I could have carved 4, unless I picked up a shiny. Like, hold on, is it 4 carves? That's right, Duramboros is 4 carves, so that makes sense. Okay, I've got the hard moss plates I need. Duramboros is 4 carves and I got the tails, so yeah. And I got a hard moss plate anyway, just for good measure. So I have what I need to upgrade at least 1 more time. My hope is that I don't need to get anything else. I hope that I have everything I need for the rest of the upgrades. Some people wouldn't be able to hold that expectation in mind, but for me, I actually have a lot of stuff in my inventory. I have a lot of monster materials, so I can hope for that sort of thing. I think Sir Nugget is watching me live. But anyway. Oh, that's right. I need Fusiumore. Well, time to work on something different. Shit. What's that going to be? Now I have to work it out. Totally forgot about old Fusiumore. Well, the Babel Spear is something that I need to work on. I just need to remember how to make it. I know that it comes off the Thane Lance, but the problem with the Thane Lance is that I can't make it. I don't even have the Macalite to make it. Can you believe that I have 1 Macalite ore? I'm like 1,200 hours into this game and I've got 1 Macalite ore. That is how, just fucking, like, that is my penury for you. My destitution. Let me find out what the path is for this spear. Oh shit. Okay, maybe through upgrading from the Iron Lance. Maybe I can make the Thane Lance, but it's still unlikely. I'd imagine it's still unlikely. I'm so sorry to hear that, Flomo. I would otherwise be very impressed, but the game that you've just mentioned... I'm sorry, but I'm not. I can make it! Holy shit. Okay, well, awesome. I was not expecting this to happen. Oh shit. I still needed Macalite ore, and I don't have slick axes. Now, using slick axes to multiply fucking Macalite ore is pretty special, and not in a good way, but... do I really not have a Macalite ore? Yeah, I don't have slick axes. I don't remember how you get them in this game, but... You know, they could be from specific arena quests or something like that. Maybe event quests, but... I haven't done those enough to get slick axes at this stage, so... Well... I've been blocked on that front as well. What else can I go for? Let's maybe try a gun lance? Imperial Sworn Lance, what is that? Imperial Sworn Lance. Oh, it's one of those, what it does is it actually has the same weapon design as the lance that looks like a gun lance, but this one is actually a gun lance. Okay. So oh shit, it's probably going to be the same thing. Let me see if it can be forged through here in any way. Doesn't appear to be any of these, so... Okay, so basically it's another one of the iron gun lances, well, iron path weapons. I'm worried that I'm going to need Macalite. If I need Macalite, we're in trouble. Now, it's very, very sad that in my situation, Macalite is the wall. Like, that is what's going to prevent me from upgrading these weapons, but seriously, that's what I'm having to deal with, so... I really do regret having to keep these guys waiting. It does not please me at all. Iron Gun Lance Plus, I can fucking purchase that thing. Well, that helps. Let's purchase that. I have no shortage of money, let me assure you. No, I didn't intend for that. What have we got? Steel Gun Lance. Who would have thought? Doomlink doesn't have the Macalite ore for it. Holy god. I have to do some mining. Well. Any other options? Well. Stygian Zenogre Gunlands. Okay. Presumably it can be forged outright. Or I suppose I have to go through... Hold on. I probably have to go through the old... Oh no, it can be forged outright. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen. Whether it's the fully upgraded version or not, I don't care. I'm willing to spend 2 Stygian Zenogre Sky Emeralds for this. Which is typically the situation if you choose to forge the second to last upgrade outright. Yes, yes, I don't give a shit. I'm doing it for convenience sake. Done. Okay. That was very easy. What is the Progenesis? Progenesis. Oh, fuck. This thing. From Portable Third. The Red Rook. Can I forge the Red Rook? I need a Rathalos tail. Let's do high rank Rathalos. I'm sorry to keep these guys waiting, but... Worst case scenario. I've still got Vernon. Let's do a high rank Rathalos and I'll go for a tail. If we don't get one, or if I don't get one, then life goes on. I'll bring Gold Raytheon. And I'll bring the Alteos Altrusta. This longsword. And you know what, it works rather well because this set does not have Sharpness +1, and this longsword is at maxed out sharpness already. So that's very good. We're currently working towards... What is it again? It is... I can't remember what it was called in... Portable Third. Well, admittedly, in Portable Third it would have been a fan translation anyway. It's basically the best raw gun lance of the game. So, it's the one that looks like it could be an ancient or rusted gun lance, but it's actually not. It looks rather similar to the Undertaker and the Sky Scraper. Hold on. Don't worry, the quest is coming. Eventually. This again. Turns out it's actually in the second list. Somewhere or rather. Yet in having said that, Doomlink cannot find a single Rathalos quest. I can find Azure Rathalos. Hello? Okay, event quests. What is going on? It's definitely not here. Why is Azure Rathalos here but not regular Rathalos? Oh, in the first list? What? The first list. I can't believe it. It never got a release in the West because there was no confidence on the part of Capcom that a PSP Monster Hunter game was going to be worth their while translating. By 2010, they already knew that they were going to come out with a game on a stationary console that was going to come out after Monster Hunter Tri, that was more likely to appeal to Western audiences. They were banking on two things. The first would be the success of a Monster Hunter game on a stationary console in the West, coming after Tri. The second thing that they were banking on was the success of Nintendo's next stationary console, which was the Wii U. They would have known, obviously, probably wouldn't have known details about the Wii U back in 2010. But they would have known that Nintendo, given that the Wii U was reaching the end of its lifespan, were seeking to make a new console. And it was Capcom's intention to bring that to the West. The reason why I know this is because they used to try to pacify our grievances at the time by saying, Monster Hunter fans in the West have much to look forward to. That might have also been referring to 3DS Monster Hunter, because I know as early as 2011, Monster Hunter 4 was materializing. And it may have been established very early on that they were going to go for a Western release with that. They were going to seek a new Western market. Something more likely to pick up a Western interest in the portable market would indeed be the 3DS market. The 3DS was picked up better in 2011 in the West as compared to the PSP, probably during the entirety of its lifespan. So, yeah, whereas it was the polar opposite to that in Japan, let it be known. So that would be my interpretation of the situation, Jezza. Based on what I experienced at the time and based on... Actually, no, not really based on hindsight. That's pretty much how I'd look at it. But yeah, there were always rumors about Capcom having a falling out with Sony. I don't know if that was ever substantiated. It may have been. The reason why I say that is because obviously I had heard that at the time. The whole explanation for why Monster Hunter had gone... Like, this is going all the way back to the advent of 3rd Gen, with Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii in 2009 in Japan. People were wondering, well, where is Monster Hunter on the PlayStation 3? We've got a stationary console Monster Hunter game. We've entered a new generation of Monster Hunter, but why is it on the Wii? Why is it not on the PlayStation 3? You know, we've had PlayStation 2 Monster Hunter, so what's going on? And then, you know, talks of Nintendo being very... Capcom being very Nintendo focused started to result in a need for an explanation, and what was put forth was that there was a disagreement between Capcom and Sony. Was there one? Maybe. How much bearing did that have on whether or not we got a Sony Monster Hunter game? I don't know. I really don't know. The crazy thing is that I don't know anything beyond what I was told back then. I haven't actually looked into it, so... All I know is that I never saw anything that was properly substantiated at that time. I was actually lucky enough to carve a tail. I was not expecting to carve a tail. I thought this might have been a little bit of a waste of a hunt, but it was not, and I'm very glad to see that. Exceptionally glad. One step closer to achieving something. I have a lot of mining to do, as you can all see. Or as you have all seen from the previous display of my lack of macrolite ore. Very good flinch. Good night. Ravi de vous connaître. That's my attempt at French. No, I should. The last word was not even close. What is that? Connaître? Connaître? I don't know. I don't know what that weird I is. Ravi de vous? Ravi de vous? I don't know. I don't speak French, okay. But the point is that Victor is saying something in French. So, and I think the worst part is that I'm covering the chat, so you can't even verify if I'm speaking French appropriately. Are we using the same armor set? Let's have a look. Well, we are using the same armor set, Vernon, but I suppose our skills would be slightly different. I'm using the Blade Master version. I do recall that you had made the Gunner set for Gold Raytheon, but I would assume that our skills are different. Your hunter's name was Frost. Ooh. I wouldn't say that that's a super anime name. More like a Japanese... More like a JRPG name. That's a very JRPG name. Similar idea, but not quite the same. Hello, Mr... Oh god, here we go. I mean, he can't really be entirely blamed for this. He's Hunter Rank 1, he's joined a room that gives no indication as to what rank of quest we're going to be doing. But, yeah, this is unfortunately not going to work in his favour. What he needs to do is play offline first, which he clearly has not done. What am I upgrading? A gun lance. This one. No, not this one. Something else. Oh, that's right, I'm making the Red Rook. To upgrade into what, I have already forgotten, but I need to make the Red Rook. Oh yeah, the Progenesis. It'll be Ancient Gaia Lance. It is actually referred to as an Ancient Lance, weirdly enough. So when I say that it seems as if it should be an Ancient something or other, it in fact rather is. Biased description. That's what they called it. It was the... no, they used the right translation. It was Gaia Lance, Gaia Smite. Gaia's Might. I don't know. Gaia's Smite? I guess Gaia's Smite. It doesn't matter. The point is that they clearly got the translation right in the fan translation because the esteemed translators of this game, and I refer to them as esteemed because, in my opinion, they did a phenomenal job at translating this game. They actually went with the same thing, so good on them. Fuck. Fusimore. Again, an iron ore. Fucking hell. I really do need to do some mining, don't I? That is what is stopping me, can you believe it? All of this weapon forging and I just need to do some mining. Mining stream? else have we got? Green Nagakuga. Are you for real? Green Nagakuga? For paralysis, awaken. Okay. Well, I can only forge this out, right? So... Oh no, I guess I'll go Hidden Gun Lance. Sure. Great. Well, if it really is a case of me only needing to mine to make the rest of these weapons, that's great. It needs to also be said that I can't actually make all elements for these weapon types. So for Awaken Lance and Awaken Gun Lance, there are actually cases where there are no options for certain elements. So, in the case of Lance, there is no Thunder or Paralysis option for Awaken. In the case of Gun Lance, it's even worse. There is no Water, Ice, Thunder or Poison option. So that's 4 element/statuses that cannot be achieved with Awaken with a Gun Lance, which is a real shame, but I don't know. That's a problem with this game, I suppose. It may have been fixed if they had Japanese DLC weapons, but no, they don't. There are a lot of weapons that I would love to have in this game, but I can't get them because it's Japanese DLC. That is, incidentally, not available to people who are playing 3 Ultimate as opposed to 3G, which is just ridiculous in my opinion, but whatever. You know what's even worse than that? The event, well, perhaps not all of them, but the vast majority of event weapons that existed in Monster Hunter Tri do not get G-ranked versions in 3 Ultimate. Capcom really did half-ass a lot of aspects to this game. As much as I say that this is the best Monster Hunter game, again, it is not without its faults. Capcom really did not put enough effort into this game. I wish that they had put more effort in, but they did not. And it really makes me sad. You know, I can't use Sinister Saints or Tenebra in this game because they're not G-rank level. And it pisses me off. I can't actually perpetuate my nostalgia in my choice of weapons. Fuck Capcom, I hate you guys. Okay, what am I doing? I'm upgrading the Hidden Gun Lance. To whom it is hidden, I do not know, but I can tell you pretty comfortably that I can see it. It is not hidden to me. End of Night. Please tell me that this is the fully upgraded version. If it's called the End of... Oh my god. That is perfect. End of Night? What a name for a weapon. End of Night. It simultaneously achieves edgelord status, and also it gives you this sense that it's actually an alleviating, heartening sort of name. Oh, the End of Night. You know, the sun is rising, the birds are chirping. But it's not really meant to be that. It's supposed to be this edgy name. That's what it is. A verdant gun lance reminiscent of night. It extinguishes light and lives with equal ease. Fuck me sideways, man. This game. Monster Hunter in general. People don't read the descriptions of weapons enough. An ancient stone lance whose thrusts are as unstoppable as the march of time. Jesus H. Christ. An icy lance fortified with sand barrier parts. The cold helps it maintain a keen edge. Well, that's fine. That seems realistic enough. I should just have a video that I record where I read all weapon descriptions. Here we go. A lance embodying a fierce king erases foes from existence with lightning-filled thrusts. Oh, come on, this is sad. A lance made from the firm horns of a Duramboros. It can fell a tree with a single blow. A tree, okay, come on. That's not anime enough. I mean, felling a tree with a single blow is standard in anime, come on. That's not epic enough. Here we go. Nether Terracontia, a dark lance housing the soul of the ruler of the seven seas. Its thunderous roar terrifies all. It's a fucking lance, man. No one's terrified, it's a lance, shut up. That's the thing, you just completely shut it down. No, shut up. It's a weapon in a video game, get over it. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've reached the end. I thank you all for being here. I'm going to cut you all off. I'm sorry. I mean, perhaps if I were slightly more courteous, I would have given you both the opportunity to leave. I think that Sir Nuggets was, or Sir Nugget, as you were, was already, not already, but rather watching me live, so he would have been able to leave. But, yeah, at this stage, I think the rest of this can be done off camera. The next time that you see me playing this game, most likely, I will have all of the weapons that I need for Lance and Gun Lance awaken form. And I just need to do a whole lot of mining. And when I say a whole lot of mining, I mean a lot of mining. Because I've fallen behind. I've not done enough mining in this game, evidently. So I will do that. And I hope you enjoyed something a little different. This has been... oh my god, it's 1 in the morning. Why is it 1 in the morning? Well, I need to go to bed. But anyway. It's been 2 hours and 41 minutes. And I do hope that you have all enjoyed yourselves. I will see you next time I'm recording Mod Standard, whether it be 3 Ultimate or something else. And I bid you all farewell for now, and thank you for joining me on this little journey of building upon my 1,200 hour character in this game. Bye bye for now.